Gen Z, the first generation officially dubbed dumber than the last. I think this is 50% millennial cope and 50% the result of mass immigration from third world countries. Oh shit, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? Are people going to start noticing, like when Vivek accidentally started shining the spotlight on some of these issues? Gen Z, this will smart. Unlike you, the generation born between 97 and 2010 is the first generation who did worse in school than the generation before them, according to a top neuroscientist. It could also be because the schools are getting shittier too, but that's not possible. It can't be that. And shockingly, they are proud of it. Well, when the school is primarily about indoctrinating you into far left ideology, that is something to be proud of. I will give you that. They're the first generation in modern history to score lower on standardized academic tests than the one before it. And to make matters worse, most of these young people are overconfident in about how smart they are. You've literally described every stupid person. They all think they're smarter than they are. And a lot of them, they got a good reason to feel that way because they've basically been coddled and given preferential treatment their whole lives. The first time they meet actual resistance, it's over. Now, the smarter people think they are, the dumber they actually are. That's a good way to describe the woke, that's for damn sure. They always fancy themselves geniuses. They underperformed on basically every cognitive measure from basic attention, memory, literacy, numeracy, executive function, and general IQ. Oh, God, they even failed the IQ tests? Uh-oh. Horvath recently testified to the sad facts before Congress, telling a panel of lawmakers that Generation Zers who followed the millennial generation blew up humanity's proud academic record the wrong way. So what happened that caused the entire age group to bomb test scores? Well, first off, the tests themselves, there was Common Core. That didn't help. A massive influx of third worlders into the education system. I'm sure. Oh, but we're all equal, right? It can't be that the third world is the third world because of the people that live there. Like, no, it can't be that. Ah, shit. No, there I go noticing again. My bad. I promise I'll stop noticing. Horvath, who studied reams of data from standardized academic tests, told Congress that Z struggles stem from the fact that they're the first generation to grow up with constant screen time, and it's no substitute for real leering. Bullshit. You could get everything you need just from YouTube, really. Like, do you need a traditional indoctrination anymore? Yeah, no child left behind. Yeah, you think that might have caused a few problems? Hey, I know. Let's drag everyone down to the lowest common denominator. That's a recipe for a smart generation. Oh, fuck, I noticed again. Damn it. More than half the time a teenager is awake, half is spent staring at a screen. So a quarter? So more than half of the time, half of it is spent staring at a screen. So a quarter of the time they're awake, they're staring at a screen. Got it. Said Horvath, who's taught at universities around the world, including Harvard and the University of Melbourne in Straya. I don't know if I'd be too proud about that nowadays. Have you seen Harvard in current year? Yeah, that's right. I'm going to get big mic'd if I notice anything else. I really need I need to walk the tightrope for the rest of this article. Shit. I might actually be in danger. Humans are biologically programmed to learn from other humans and from deep study, not flipping through screens for bullet point summaries. This is just cope, man. It is. But digital devices called indoctrinational technology take up most of their brain matter during class time and homework. So is it any different than paper time, really? Then students spend their hours away from the classroom concerned with their personal arsenal of phones, tablets, and laptops when they scroll through TikTok captions and fire off snippy Snapchats in between eyeballing summaries of classic literature instead of picking up a book and actually reading it. If you guys gave them something they actually wanted to read, I think they wouldn't have much of a problem. Or leering from screens is turning them into skimmers, said Horvath, and without the heavy lifting, even beautiful minds can turn to mush. Look at the college-educated activist class. I'm not anti-tech. I'm pro-rigor, said Horvath, who wants schools to limit the amount of screen time for students and go back to the good old days when kids had to crack open a book and pull an all-nighter to pass a test. That's right. Go back to the good old days when we forced these poor kids to waste all night on something they could do in 10 minutes. We had to suffer, so they're going to have to suffer too. A sad fact our generation has to face is this: our kids are less cognitively capable than than we were at their age. I call bullshit on that. Horvath told the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Technology, we have been standardizing and measuring cognitive development since the late 1800s. Every generation has outperformed their parents until Gen Z. Yeah, until you start flooding them with sorry, I can't notice anymore, dude. I seriously, like, I don't want to be big mic'd. I really don't want to get myself in trouble here, man. It's not just happening in the U.S. Across 80 countries. Look at the data. Once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly. Is the tech the only difference, though? Can we compare countries that that accept invaders with open arms with those who don't? I mean, how's Japan doing when it comes to the education of their youth? Like they're like more screen addicted than we are, right? Looking ahead, he said he hopes for new policies in which schools are forced to pull back on tech and in the classrooms and give the upcoming kids, Generation Alpha, a better chance of becoming brainiacs. Yeah, they need more in-person time with activists that want to convince them that they're actually girls and they should chop their dicks off. That's the real risk right there. It gets a lot harder to access other people's kids for brainwashing if they're like on their screens outside of the classroom. Yeah, what do we have that Japan doesn't? Very good question. Maybe one day they'll lear what that is.